G'day, how's it going? It's your mate, Failbait, coming at you with a Legends 101 video. This one being part 3 of our Legends 101 videos focusing on pre-made decks. So once all of the starter missions have been completed, make sure that you log out and log back in. You should get a free deck from one of the pre-made decks on offer. There are 5 of them, and I will discuss them below along with explaining some of the strengths they have and ways to improve them. Ultimately, you want to have all of the pre-made decks because of the value they provide, but some decks you might prioritize over others because of your preference or playstyle. So the first deck we are going to look at is Ayla's Companions, which is an aggressive warrior deck that uses good purple and red cards. Some of the good cards include Circle Initiate and Shadowfen Priest, but some cards that aren't as good and you can take them out are Mudcrab Ankle Snapper, Stormcloak Vanguard, Ulfric's Zealot, Child of Her Sign, and Night Predator. It is also very important now to improve the deck, and you'll want to do that by adding Young Mammoth, which is a very powerful early game minion, and then you could start building towards your mid game by adding more copies of Shadowfen Priest and 3 copies of Earthbone Spinner. If you're looking to add legendaries, a good one to add is Reeve Blademaster, which is a very good aggressive card, or you can add Vigilant Giant. Now Vigilant Giant you actually get for free just by leveling up in the game, so it could definitely be worth considering. Up next we have the Ancano deck, which is a very powerful deck that has some really good blue cards, one of them being Ancano himself. So if you have any plans on making a deck involving blue, this should be your first priority. Some cards that are not as valuable, however, and you can take them out, include Calm, Dark Rebirth, Mage's Trick, Insightful Scholar, Praetorian Commander, and Mage's Guild Recruit. To then strengthen the deck, you can add 3rd copies of Wardcrafter and Shrieking Harpy, which will provide you with good minions and early game utility, as well as a 3rd copy of Execute for some easy removal. You can also consider adding Eastmarch Crusader, which can be played on turn 3, but works much better after you have destroyed an enemy rune, as he allows you to draw a card. So you might consider playing him in the late game. Speaking of the late game, another good card is Ice Storm, which can clear an entire board as it deals 3 damage to all creatures. If you're looking to add a legendary, a good one is Daggerfall Mage, which is actually a card you can get for free if you use the Breton avatar in game. Up next we have Brynjolf, which is an assassin deck that uses its mid-range minions and pilfer abilities to maintain consistent hand advantage. Elusive Schemer and Thieves Guild Recruit are great draw cards, so its main strength comes in outvaloring your opponent. So to improve the deck, you can remove Cruel Firebloom, Paralyze, Palace Prowler, and Lilandril Hexmage. Then start by adding the 0-cost card Curse to combo with the 3 copies of Goblin Skulk already in the deck. Continue your early game dominance with cards like Wardcrafter and Shrieking Harpy again, and then start moving into your mid game with Cliff Racer, which has charge, meaning it can also be quite an effective finisher. Then for your epics, you can consider more copies of Leaf Lurker again, which can destroy a wounded creature, allowing you to control the board more easily. And lastly, if you're looking to add a legendary, Ancano from the previous deck can work very well as a finisher. Up next we have Alduin's Apocalypse, which is a fun spell sword deck that has plenty of control options with yellow and purple. It has high cost minions that can be ramped into using Treeminder, allowing you to play things like Manticora much sooner and gain control. So if you're a fan of big ramp style decks, this could be good for you. To improve, start by taking out Dragonplate Armor, Dragon Cult Ghost, and Incumbent Explorer, as well as Dragontail Savior. To then improve the deck, consider adding a 3rd copy of Hive Defender and the epic Edict of Azura to make sure you maintain board advantage in the mid game. You can then add more copies of Manticora as your big minion and to allow for more removal, or some legendaries to add could be Parthenax, which is a dragon that could work quite well with Alduin. But speaking of Parthenax, he is a dragon that is inspired heavily by the Skyrim game using shouts and young Dragonborn. So if you like the shout flavor from Skyrim, this will be particularly fun. It includes 2 great red cards in Rapid Shot and the one I've been mentioning quite a bit, Earthbone Spinner, as well as useful greens in the Guild Recruit minions. The cards that are not as good and can be replaced are Word Wall and Dover Off the Voice. To improve this version of the deck, you can add more copies of the epic Leaf Lurker and Earthbone Spinner to facilitate a stronger mid game. However, I think Parthenax also works quite well in ramp decks, So you can take out the reds and build in purple cards that have lots of Magicka boosting cards, like Treeminder, Hist Grove, and Spine of Elder's Blood, which will give you the opportunity to play Paarthurnax even sooner. So that has been my analysis of the 5 pre-made decks that you can buy for 500 gold in the store, one of which you get for free. Again, these are decks that can help you farm resources against the AI and maybe even play really well at the early ranks of ladder, but ultimately what you want to start doing is building your own decks and start looking at combinations that work specifically for your playstyle. So hopefully these Legends 101 videos have been of some use to you. Until next time, I've been your mate Failbait, and I'll see you later.